Hey, what's up? It's Joe. Welcome to my 5 Minute Friday for November 1st. So I'm just in Helsinki, Finland right now, wrapping up Helsinki Data Week. And it's a great event. Very excited, about the success that this event's had. It was the inaugural event. It looks like there will be another one next year. And the thing I like about Helsinki in particular for this type of event is the city lends itself very well to hosting, an event of this nature where you have a kickoff event, say Monday, with a bunch of keynote speakers, and then satellite events throughout the weeks scattered around the city. There's just a lot of great venues that host events. It's very walkable. Public transportation is great. Traffic is great. It's just a very clean, practical city where things just work. like, so I come from America, where the reliability of the basics in a lot of cities is it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. But here, it's I can definitely see why Finland prides itself on being, quote, the happiest place on earth and having a very high quality of living. These standards for things are the I don't know. They just everything just works, right? So anyway, shout out to the crew behind Helsinki, Finland, Helsinki Data Week. Sorry, and yeah, excited for next year's event. So speaking of events, that's what's been top of mind. I've been unintentionally writing a two-part series and maybe some more on conferences. So last time I posted, that was a couple weeks ago, I talked about just my thoughts on becoming a public speaker, maybe some ways you can navigate that labyrinth of there's things you have to do to sort of level up as a speaker. And today I want to talk about sort of the other end of things, right? Where as a speaker, whether you're giving a presentation or whether you're on a panel, you're typically asked questions in a public area, right? So I'm not talking about getting questions maybe after your talk or after your panel, maybe over a beer or some dinner or something, but during a Q&A section, right? So, and I don't even know how many questions I've answered at this point. I've lost track, but I was speaking with some other people about just what makes a good question, what makes I would say questions and also behavior that you probably want to avoid. So I wrote a list here. Let me just go through a few of these. And before I actually do that, I just want to say like the nature of asking questions, it should be twofold, right? It's to obviously maybe better understand the topic or the discussion, maybe if it's a panel that you listen to. The other part of it subtly is to move things along, right? It is you got to understand when you're doing a Q&A, this is also part of the show. So this isn't your chance as the person asking questions to get your name out in the limelight. You can if you ask a great question. I think people respect that. But I think in a lot of cases, people use this as an opportunity to, um, you know, sort of, get their 15 seconds of fame, right? And so I'm going to tell you why that's probably a really bad idea, um, and why you should just be cordial, right? So let's get into it, right? So the things that you should do: keep your question brief, preferably to a sentence or two, and choose your words efficiently. There's nothing worse than getting a question that's very long-winded, very tangential, and doesn't get to the point. It's exhausting for the audience, exhausting for the speakers. So understand what you're trying to ask it, and understand that you need to ask it very succinctly and efficiently. I prefer open-ended questions. I know that I'm probably I'm not speaking on behalf of other speakers, but I prefer open-ended questions that lend themselves to an answer, a dialogue answer. If you ask me a yes or no type of a question, I'll probably answer yes or no, depending on the nature of the question. I might elaborate, but asking a closed-ended question where the answer is either going to be yes or no, typically isn't a good way to do it, right? Um, so a good example is, do you think dot 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 question mark? That's usually a yes or no type question, right? So avoid that. I would say at least pretend you've listened to the discussion or the talk, and ask something relevant. Please stay on topic. I can't tell you how many times people ask something that's very I don't know how they come up with the stuff half the time, but please pretend that you're at least paying attention. Keep the flow going. This is a big one, right? Build into the other questions that were asked, or ask your own question that will ideally tee up maybe some other discussion point. But the way I look at quick Q and A's is a continuation of the presentation or the panel. This is very much a dialogue. Again, this is where you can use your time wisely and read the room, right? This isn't your time again to get on your pedestal. Promote your company, or whatever you're trying to do. Make yourself look really smart. Trust me, people see right through it. Keep the flow going, right? This is part of the act, so to speak. It is true that presentations and panels, it's a theater. This is performance, right? Obviously, there's interesting things that come about this, but if you want interesting conversations, go hang out at the bar afterward and talk to the speaker. You're going to get a much different view than asking somebody in public, right? So keep the flow going. Be positive in your phrasing with people. I think you get a better response. So I would say don't use this as an opportunity to diss the speaker, or shut them down. This isn't, this kind of, this isn't the time and place for it. I don't think any speaker likes to be confronted in that way, and all it means is that you're going to get the derision of the speakers and probably the organizers. Like that controversy is good, don't get me wrong, and it's spicy, but at the same time, you understand how the optics look for you when you do this kind of stuff, right? And this leads me to sort of the don'ts, right? Which is it's very similar. Don't try and show up by schooling the speaker or the panel. Don't be contrarian just for the sake of it. I get enough of this stuff. I'm very quick to, I think point out, I'll answer your question. Probably not going to answer it in the way that you want. You're probably going to end up looking really dumb at the end. Just keep in mind the speaker has a stage and you don't. So you're in a no-win situation. So if you want to confront people in a public setting, I would say just understand what you're getting yourself into. You have zero power in this case. You're asking a question, from the audience, and people see this. People see right through it. Typically, I think people see this as an opportunity. People see that this is an opportunity for the person asking the question to kind of show off, right? But I would say, again, as a very experienced speaker, as a person who's very experienced answering questions and asking them, just know this isn't a winning situation for you. You'll probably get schooled back about 1,000,000 times harder. At least a guy like me will do that to you. So if you're going to step up, be prepared. So also don't go off on a rant, right? Ask your question. If the voices in your head are keeping you or telling you to keep going, don't listen to them. Ask a question, sit down. This isn't your show. I'll leave it at that. So again, I mentioned don't promote your company, but I'm going to say it again. Promoting your company, your product, or your service, it's corny. People see right through it. Nobody likes blatant self-promotion like that. I don't even promote my stuff, that directly. I would say just nobody cares. If you're going to promote your company in your question, you just end up looking like a dork. So just, again, promote your company in the right ways. A Q&A is not the place to do it. So I'll give you an example like, hey, my company X, Y, and Z, we do this, blah, 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 blah. That takes up like 3/4 of the time for the question. Then they ask a question, right? But this isn't your time to promote. So stop. I will also call you out if you do that. So keep your questions simple again. Don't ask overly complicated, multi-part questions. This is confusing for the audience. It takes up a lot of time, and it disrupts the flow of the discussion, right? So just keep it simple. Again, 1 or 2 sentences, that's it. A big pet peeve of mine, don't interrupt my talk. Don't interrupt any other speaker, right? Don't interrupt a panel. If you do this, I will mock you mercilessly until you either cry or you leave. And I'm not kidding. Do not interrupt the speaker. Unless we're having a dialogue, unless I'm asking the audience questions. And I can say this for other speakers too, but interrupting, interjecting something. This isn't a stand-up comedy show where you can just heckle the comedian. That's even bad form. You're going to get if you do that in a comedy show, you're going to get crucified by the comedian. I would say if you do that during a talk, I can't speak for other speakers, but I will say if you do that to me, again, it's just like asking a question. It's going to try and school me. It's not going to be a good day for you. You're going to want to leave. I'm going to put you in a bad spot. So don't interrupt. That's a huge pet peeve. And I can't believe I have to say this. I can't believe I have to tell grown-ups that they shouldn't interrupt in a public setting, but it happens. It happens pretty often, actually. So anyway, that's my rant about asking questions at a conference. I'm pretty sure there's more. I want to give a shout out to Auntie Rosk, Russell Willis, and Evamaya Virtanen for helping out with this list here. We all have our things we've noticed. I think both of some of the talks during Helsinki Data Week and as well as others, right? But again, since conferences are top of mind, I want to, also maybe give some advice on just being, a good audience member, right? And hopefully this isn't the exhaustive list, but it gives you some idea of at least what speakers have to deal with when we're up on the stage. Public speaking is hard. Being on a panel is hard. I would also say that asking good questions is hard, right? But it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You should definitely ask good questions, use your time wisely, and, just be respectful, right? Don't put yourself in a situation of public embarrassment, which I see people sometimes do. And like I said, I will put you in your place if you try and do that, at least to me, right? So it's not a threat, more of a promise. That's how it is. Anyway, I'll be back in the U.S., this weekend? Back for a couple days, and then off to Austin, Texas for the MLOps World Summit, I believe it is. It's going to be a lot of fun. Me, Jepson Taylor, Hugo Brown-Lee, and I think that's his name, Hugo Brown-Lee or something, and then Carly Taylor are going to be doing a panel. And then where am I the week after that? I'm doing a private thing over at Carnegie Mellon the week after, and then, where am I? New York City for Data Galaxy's Data Summit, and then got a bunch of other stuff after that. So anyway, I'm over my time again, but whatever. So I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you had a great Halloween, and I'll see you next time where you can hear more rants. And by the way, before I forget, if you like this podcast, please like and subscribe to it on the podcast platform of your choice. Your reviews do matter to making this podcast a success. I appreciate you listening, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.